Pine Harbor. Today I'm going to show you how to use our stove here. So the first thing is you have a handle that you'll use on all these little different knobs, and there's a little bit of hole down here that you can get this handle from, and this is a great place to store it when you're not using it elsewhere. So before you use the stove, the very first time, you should use the handle, come down here, open up this little drawer here at the bottom, and check to see if there is any soot that needs to be emptied. This is pretty much okay if this is full. It shouldn't be if you're coming here to stay, but if it is full, you'll want to deposit it in the metal garbage can that's out on the patio. The patio is on the eastern side of the house and is right next to the grill. And this is where you're going to want to put any of your soot after you've used any of your fires. Do make sure that all the embers have gone out before you throw it in there. There's a plastic bag and it could burn through if there are any embers, so just check for that. But we're good here, we're good to go. And like I said, it'll likely be empty when you first get here. So we will close this. And now we want to take a look at starting to get our fire ready. So you'll want to open the front door here. And you can see we've already prepped it with some wood. And then there's the side door as well. And this will allow maximum airflow into the fire as you're starting to get it ready. This handle right here controls the dampener. And you always, anytime you're adding a log or starting a fire, you want to make sure that that is in the open position. So right now it's pointed down, kind of in the 4 to 5 o'clock direction. So I'm going to turn it and open it all the way. And open all the way is around the 2 o'clock position on the clock as you're looking at it from this angle. So you want to ensure that the dampener is open as you're going to be starting your fire. Now, there are 3 different options for starting your fire here. You'll likely see some strike-a-fire sticks, and these work very well. They burn hot, they burn for a long time, and it's a great way to get your log started. So if we have these here, I highly recommend these. We also have fat wood sticks. So these are starters, they're kindling, that'll get it going. So I recommend using these if we don't have the strike-a-fire, if they're not here. And with these starter sticks, you'll just use 2 of them, and then the box of matches that'll be here. If you are doing this, the fat wood or the starter sticks, or if you're just using matches in the stove alone, which any of these are your option, if you're just going to use matches, we do recommend crunching up some newspaper, magazine, or some cardboard as a starter. So I've got like I said, I've already got some cardboard, I've got a few logs in here, so I'm ready to go. And I got a starter stick already ready for this as well. So let's get this going. So I will strike this, get it going, and I'm going to start a few different places. I'm going to light the cardboard, and then I'm going to find a place for this starter stick kind of right in the middle of the logs. It went out on me, so I'm just trying to get it going again. Okay, I've got it going, and now I've put it in the middle. So this is going to take off, and I'm at least going to shut the side door now. We still want to give the fire a good amount of oxygen. And one of the things I can recommend is sometimes it is helpful to open the front door as well to let the most amount of oxygen in as possible. Okay, so now I'm just waiting to see if the fire gets going and we'll catch the logs. And this can take a while, so I'm going to go to a cut and wait till the fire is going. Welcome back. We've now gotten our fire going. We did end up opening our front door to let in a little bit more fresh air, so feel free to do so. But once your fire is going, you can shut both of the doors and shut your front door. You don't have to let the cold air in anymore. So once it's going, you can come up here and look at the temperature gauge. And this is the temperature that's going into the converter, the catalytic converter. So you don't have to worry. If this ever gets up to 1,000 degrees, that's okay. That's in the pipe, and what's going out of the house, that's not going to be the temperature of this. Still wouldn't recommend touching this. This still will be very hot, but it won't be 1,000 degrees. You don't have to worry about that. So my fire is going. I could add a few more logs here. If you're going to slowly add logs, start with very small logs and then add bigger from there. That's how you can really get it going and get the temperature up. If you are looking to heat the cabin, look at the temperature gauge here. Leave the dampener open, which is all the way clockwise. That's the way you want to turn it when the dampener is all the way open. Leave this going. Let the fire continue to roar. Add wood as needed. And once it gets to about 500 or 550 degrees on this measurement up here, then you can close the dampener, which I will do now just for demonstration, and that is counterclockwise all the way down, and that will close off the dampener. Now, one thing I actually realized I did forget to mention earlier on is that this little knob here controls how much air is going in from the front of the stove. So if I push it all the way to the left as I'm looking at it from this direction, if I push it all the way to the left, it's completely closed and it's not letting any air into the stove. That is not what you want whenever you're starting a fire. You want to push this all the way to the right to ensure the maximum air is going in there. But that will allow you to control how hot this temperature can potentially get, but also how fast or slow your wood will end up burning. Usually once we get our fires going, we put it about halfway to almost close, especially at night when we're about to go to bed. All the way closed works, and it'll keep the house pretty warm until the morning. So you want to make sure, like I said, it's all the way to the right, all the way open. The dampener is now closed in what I did. So I didn't necessarily allow it to get to the 550 degrees, but this fire is beautiful and will add some heat to the cabin. And if you aren't looking to heat the cabin, this is a perfect way to do it, to have a fire, have a little bit of ambiance, warm it a little bit, but not necessarily heat up the whole cabin. If, like I said, I wanted to go back, wanted to make sure I got this fire raging enough and added enough logs that I wanted to get it up to heat up the whole cabin to that 500, 550 degrees, I'd go back to the dampener here, turn it clockwise all the way open, and now I just wait. It'll take maybe about 30 minutes to get up to that degree. Once it is up to 500, 550, again, I could counterclockwise turn the dampener, close it, and then it'll start to heat up even more, but it'll heat up the whole cabin. You can get the upstairs up to 80 degrees if you want to. So that's really kind of what you need to know. Most important as well is anytime you are adding logs, once your fire is raging, make sure that the dampener is turned all the way clockwise, all the way open. Otherwise, smoke will come into the cabin. It also is common when you're starting your fire for the first time for smoke to come into the cabin. If the fire alarms go off, no worries, just hit the button on top of them. You'll see that it's pretty obvious, and hold it down and it'll turn those off. And nothing to be embarrassed about. That happens to the best of us as we are starting these stove fires. Once you're ready to just let it go, you don't have to do much with it. The only thing I would say if you want to continue to heat the cabin throughout the night or throughout the day is once you've gotten to that 500, 550 degrees, you let it creep up from there. You close off this control, maybe about halfway or smaller. And you might see the temperature, like I said previously, get up to about 1,000 degrees. Just watch that, and you only want to add a log or maybe two. When it gets down to around 500 degrees, you can't even add logs at about 300 degrees, and it'll keep the fire going usually and continue to warm the home throughout the day. So those are your instructions. Make sure to clean out the soot anytime after you've used this throughout the day, but enjoy. Thank you.